Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of the Africa Football Showdown. I'm so excited to be with you this week. My name is Dadzie, and I'm especially excited because of the range of topics we have to talk about. We'll begin from Ghana, where Otto Addo, I don't know if you remember that name, he is the new coach of the Black Stars, but he's not so new. We'll talk a bit more about that. And then we'll go to England because Liverpool are their winning days over. Lost 4-3 against Manchester United in the FA Cup quarterfinals. And speaking of quarterfinals, we'll come back to the continent to discuss the CAF Champions League quarterfinal draw. Some juicy matchups there. But before I do anything more, let me bring in my boss, my Oga at the top, my main man, the imprimatur, Peter
Claudia, how are you,
Okwoche.
man? What
Charlie,
an
you be too
introduction.
much.
What an
Charlie,
introduction, man.
Charlie, you be
Listen,
too much.
I feel as if I feel almost as if you want to ask me for something with that introduction.
Well, I want to ask for a little of your swag. Do
Oh,
you
please,
understand? Because you
please,
be
you're
too
too
much.
you're
Hey,
too kind. You're too kind. It's great to be with you again, man. How is London today?
London is not bad. As you can see, it's still a bit chilly. And so we are keeping ourselves warm. Really, really
Charlie,
jealous of you in Nigeria right now.
Charlie, Nigeria is so hot. I mean, some parts of Nigeria actually hit 42 degrees Celsius now. It's unbelievable. But I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining. I mean, sometimes it gets a bit too much, but you know how it is. You live with it, man.
Exactly. One of these days we should talk about how it's like to play football in 45 degrees plus because the
Yes,
heat wave running across the continent is wild.
because the Nigerian league is still going on. I mean, and I know some of the really hot places. I mean, where my favorite team, Lobby Stars, play. They play in they're meant to play in Makurdi, which is hot and humid, but they're not playing in Nasarawa, which is slightly hotter than Makurdi is, maybe 40, 41 degrees. So it must be something else. And don't forget, those guys don't get water breaks.
Exactly. Anyway, look, speaking of heat, Otto Addo has assumed the hot seat. He is
Hmm.
now the coach of Ghana. Now, let me give you a small background before we go into it. During the AFCON, we all saw the abysmal performance of the Black Stars, mainly leveled at the feet of Chris Hughton, the coach at the time. Now, Chris Hughton exits the Black Stars after we find out we are not qualifying to the next stage of the tournament. And then the Ghana Football Association formed an association, a five-man team, a committee, pardon me, a five-man team to select the next coach. The news we heard was that about 600 people applied.
Wow.
Immediately after yeah, lots of people wanted to be Black Stars coach. I don't know why anyone would want to sign up to be
Well, it's not
criticized by mates.
surprising. It's not surprising. They're a good side. Maybe not as good as Nigeria and Ivory Coast, but they're an okay side.
Charlie, you and me are nice. When you start these things, let's
No,
not
no,
go
no.
into it.
Please go ahead. Go ahead.
You see, because how many AFCONs do you have? Then we have the conversation. You
Go
see,
ahead.
but
When was the last?
anyway,
When was the last time you won it?
no. The question is how many? Like, they're changing goalposts. But yeah. After that selection process, we heard that Otto Addo came out first during the interviews. Remember, I said that I don't think a coach should be chosen by interviews.
Mm.
And now he has been selected as Black Stars coach. First and foremost, your initial thoughts going back to him.
But you know what, right? I mean, it's not surprising to me anymore because I think a few weeks ago you predicted that Ghana might be going back to him. So in that sense, it's not a surprise. But in
Okay.
another sense, it is a bit of a surprise because that's the guy who took the Black Stars to the World Cup. And, his performance at the World Cup wasn't anything to write home about. They didn't light any sparks, so to speak. So, taking him back, what are you taking him back for? Is it for AFCON next year in Morocco or one of the targets that he has been set? I think maybe they've just gone back into a comfort zone, so to speak, rather than hire any other person from these 600 people who applied. Why don't we just go back to the person that we know? And you can call it a safe pair of hands, but is it really safe? I mean, a safe pair of hands that doesn't perform. I mean, if you name 600 people on a list, except if the 600 people was made up of people like you and I, there must be some people on that list who have more experience, who have better pedigree than Otto Addo has. So you kind of like wonder what was in the mind of those committee members for them to come back with Otto Addo. I mean, why didn't you, if you wanted to try a Ghanaian, well, try somebody else.
That it's a very good point to raise. I don't want to start this thing from a negative standpoint, but
Mm.
I shudder to think really what are his targets, because at the moment the sights of any football administrator in Ghana must be set squarely on winning AFCON and doing better, or at least equaling our 2010 quarterfinal placement in the World Cup.
Mm.
Anything less is not enough. For fans of Ghana football, I think that has been made clear. So I'll throw in a few comments here for you to find out what you think. First of all, one of the key members of the committee, which was asked to search for a new coach for Ghana, Kojo Addo, stated in an interview that Otto Addo really, I'm quoting him, Otto Addo really impressed me. I must admit that he proved to me that he knew what he was about, he knew the team, and he told us what he would have done differently with the benefit of hindsight. Then he goes on to say he knows the players, he knows their psyche. The GFA has written their DNA and he knows about it. He really impressed us, I must confess, but he was not the only one who impressed. There were quite a number of people who were also impressive, but bottom line, Otto was very impressive. Do you think it's good enough reasoning, Peter?
So, I mean, Otto, who went to the World Cup, I mean, failed and then resigned or left the team. All of a sudden, he now has what it takes to fix the team. I don't understand that logic behind it. You know, and like I said, what it is because he said, "Oh, I understand the psyche of the team. I understand the team." Well, of course you do. You've worked with them before, you know. But don't you even think it's time to start getting new blood into that team? I mean, I look at somebody like Andre Dadzie. I had a lot of respect for him, but it's time for people like that to start leaving the team. You know, I mean, I think Jordan still has a place in that team. He's doing well for Crystal Palace in the Premier League up until now. But people like Dadzie, you should, you know, start hanging back now. It means you need new blood. You've got Inaki Williams there. You've got to get him playing much better for the Black Stars than he did at the Nations Cup. There's a lot of work to do there. But is Otto Addo the man to do that job? And don't forget, you and I had this same conversation when Nigeria changed their management team after Jose Peseiro left, and they formed a committee to coach the Super Eagles with Austin Eguavoen at the helm. And Austin Eguavoen was the same guy who took what I think was a much better team to Cameroon 2021 and didn't perform as well as Jose Peseiro did. You know, so why are all these African countries, or is it West African countries, going back to people who, well, didn't succeed when they were imposed in the first place? You know, I really don't get it.
Here's my point. At least the Nigeria decision for me is better because Eguavoen, in all the previous times that he coached the Super Eagles, was clearly an interim manager, right? So the message I'm getting from the Nigerian Football Association is that, oh, we have not really made up our minds, but we need this guy to hold the fort. Remember, Paris 2024, the Olympics is coming up. There's a round of qualifiers for the next World Cup. And Ghana and Nigeria actually have a friendly game in the space of about a month.
Yes,
okay,
they do.
So there's business to take care of. Let's get Eguavoen to come in, hold the fort, steady the ship, and then we'll find, you know, a more permanent replacement. My challenge is Otto Addo came as an interim coach. That's how it's being sort of marketed now. He came as an interim coach for Qatar 2022. I don't necessarily agree that was the case, but yeah, let's say it was. Then he left. When he came, he didn't perform that well. Now we signed him on a 3-year contract because he impressed in an interview. Personally, I don't think, like I said earlier, that an interview is the way to pick a coach of a team, because you first of all need people who recognize the style of play that your team has. Which is why I don't think, for instance, that Jordan Ayew would fit in this team. Because you have an Inaki Williams, you have an Antoine Semenyo in front, you have a Mohamed Kudus who plays as attacking midfielder. They need to be fed. Now, Jordan Ayew at Crystal Palace is not exactly that left winger who surges forward, who makes those defense splitting passes. He's more of the guy that you want, especially in the Black Stars. He's the one that we've expected to hold possession, cause a little trouble, take on defenders, maybe win a foul or two, so that we do something from the set pieces. The best game that he played for Ghana in the AFCON was that game against Mozambique, where we got 2 penalties and he scored both of them. You see, you don't sign someone or place your confidence in someone based on holding the ball. And that is what I mean. We have a crop of players, we have a setup of players who want to be expressive, who want to move forward. Give us a coach who will move these boys forward. You get me? And from the football that I saw, now remember, Otto Addo played 6 games for Ghana. I mean, he coached 6 games for Ghana. There were those 2 qualifiers against Nigeria. And then there was the 4 games in the World Cup. Pardon me, there were 5. There were 3 games in the World Cup in Qatar. He didn't win a single one. He drew, but we qualified to the World Cup by drawing.
By drawing against Nigeria, yes. I mean, that's
exactly
to the World Cup. I mean, we would have taken that.
Fair points, boss. It was enough, which is why after we qualified, it was enough to get us to Qatar. Which is why after we qualified, I didn't, for instance, say that let's sack him. I was like, no, Charlie, we've gotten there. Let's go. But then we went into the World Cup itself and we couldn't win a single game. It's not enough for that stage. And again, 3 draws, or pardon me, it was 2 draws and a loss in the AFCON. Yeah. 2 draws and a loss will not be enough for the next AFCON. Looking at the way AFCON is becoming competitive, if this one was anything to go by, 2 draws and a loss, 3 draws may not be enough to qualify for an AFCON. So, for the next stage of an AFCON. So, Peter, my point here is that is it because he impressed when he spoke at an interview? I don't know.
You know what? If I may just come in here, I mean, we've been speaking about this matter for a few minutes now. You begin to get a bit emotional about it, I mean. I thought you were like a journalist who could stand back and look at something dispassionately, but you're getting too involved.
Leave me alone.
I totally get it, man. I totally get your passion for the Black Stars. Listen, man, let's move to one of the big games of the weekend in the UK, and it was an FA Cup quarterfinal between Manchester United and Liverpool. Do you know what? In the week running up to that game, I kept telling everybody, every Manchester United fan, that you guys would need to put on some kind of bulletproof jackets because Liverpool was going to outgun you guys. But that's not what happened. I mean, it was such a great game. It was such a great game. And with Manchester United coming up trumps, some beautiful goals, last minute action, I mean, we love those last minute wins, don't we? But, it was such a great game to watch. And kudos to Manchester United. They didn't start too well, but they kept coming back from behind. And, they won that match. I mean, Liverpool were clean and gone.
Peter, first of all, let me caveat it by saying that Jurgen Klopp is the best thing that has happened to Liverpool in a very long time.
Absolutely.
He won us, before Jurgen Klopp came, the last time we had been to a Champions League final was, I think, 2007. Was at least in the late 2000s. The last time we had won any European silverware was quite good before he came, and he won us that premiership that had been elusive for decades.
Yeah.
But I have to put this one on him, and I'll tell you why. Why would Mohamed Salah play 90 minutes against Sparta Praha when Sparta Praha was a walkover in midweek? So he comes into this game and he can't play more than 70 minutes. Remember, This was his first 90 minutes for the club since he came back from injury. The injury that cut short his AFCON. By the end of that game, by the time that Manchester United game was about to end, all I could see from my players was tiredness.
Yeah.
The boys were fatigued. The boys had been stretched. Now, if you look at the difference that Klopp's substitutions made against Man City, the difference Salah made when he came into the game against Man City on halftime, and you compare it to the impact that we failed to see getting to the end when we needed them the most, you realize that it was really down to game management. And it's unfortunate. They all get it wrong. But that's where I'll put it. I don't think that Salah is back 100%. I think that, on a good day, Nunes gets tired when you place all that, when he's playing game in, game out almost every time, and he's playing significantly in all of these games. I don't know what you think.
Well, I agree with you about Nunes. I don't think Nunes is in every game 100% of the time. He has his moments. But there are players like that, there are players like that who will have their moments and take their moments. I can go back as far back as Rashid Yekini from Nigeria in 1994 and tell you the kind of player that he was, who would never really track back. Nunes not track back, but Rashid Yekini would not track back that much. But he had his moments in the match, and that's how some of the greatest strikers play their football. But Nunes is never 100% in 100% of the games, and I think therein lies the problem with Liverpool against Manchester United. For Salah, Salah got a goal. He got a goal, and they thought that might have been the winning goal, and then Man United come back and equalize again, and then Liverpool go ahead, and then Man United come back and then win in extra time. I agree with you. I think maybe Klopp got his selections wrong, but I don't want to take anything away from Manchester United. We have, Smith. How do I put it? Maligned Man United and the way they play for this whole season. So if they get a significant win, we can only congratulate them. If you compare the way they played against Manchester City a few weeks ago versus the way they played against Liverpool, it was a massive, massive improvement. Apart from some of their missed chances, some glaring chances that they missed. Marcus Rashford. That. Even I would have scored that goal that he put just outside the post. But players like McTominay, McTominay had a fantastic day. One of the best players on the park that day. So I think kudos goes out to them. I think they did a great job, and good luck to them in the future.
Good luck to them. If anything has been showed by Man United in that game, is that they can do it if they want to. Raising the expectation again. I don't know what difference it will make for them as far as even the FA Cup itself is concerned. But remember that they didn't go trophyless last season.
No, they did not.
Even
they did not. So
with Ten Hag's first season, they won something. So. Let's see what comes out of that. Kudos to them. But I really think, and I felt so bad for Klopp because, the interview that he gave after the game, he said that this is one of those games that he gave it everything, and all his boys gave it everything. It just didn't go their way. They did not. I didn't see a lazy team. I didn't see a team that was lacked skill. The only thing I saw in the end was a bunch of tired men after playing close to 100 minutes of football. At a point, we were just waiting for penalties.
He did snap at a Danish reporter though, who he told the Danish reporter, you don't know what you're talking about. In fact, you're not in shape yourself. So a little bit of anger crept in there, maybe a little bit of self-blame, so to speak. He kind of saw what his faults were in that game, but. Liverpool are still a great side. I know they were trying to win everything possible this season for him because it's Klopp's last season with the club. They feel that this hurdle I'm hoping that they fail to win the Premier League as well, or you fail to win the Premier League as well, because Arsenal are in the race. Hey, listen, man, everybody's got to defend their own territory. Eh?
Okay. Defend your territory. It is the 6 yard box you should defend. Look, let's come back home, Peter.
Yeah.
Let's come back home with the last few minutes that we have. So the 2024 CAF Champions League, or let me say 23-24 CAF Champions League quarterfinal draw has been done. Simba plays Ahly, TP Mazembe plays Petro de Luanda. Young Africans play Mamelodi Sundowns. Tunis, Esperance de Tunis, plays ASEC Mimosa. And then, and then the other halves, the second legs continue from there.
I think it's extraordinary. I mean, and what's extraordinary about this draw is that you have two teams from Tanzania. I still can't get over myself. Simba and Young Africans, two teams from Tanzania are in the quarterfinals of the African Champions League. I mean, that's just amazing. No team from Nigeria, no team from Senegal, no team from Ghana. Okay, you've got Ivory Coast there in ASEC Mimosa. You've got South Africa, Mamelodi Sundowns, TP Mazembe. TP Mazembe have won this title before a few years ago. Then you've got Ahly, 11-time champions of the Champions League. And you know what? That match on the 28th of March, right, between Simba and Ahly. If Ahly go into that match thinking, oh, we are 11 times champions of this competition, this is going to be a walkover. Do you know what it means to walk into a cauldron of noise? That is Simba's stadium in Dar es Salaam for you. It is one of the most, I haven't been there, but I've watched games being played there. They're like 80, 90,000 fanatical fans just going absolutely mental. So Ahly better watch out when they're going into that match. They'll be favorites, but Simba is not going to make it easy for them. TP Mazembe versus Atletico Petrol of Angola. Atletico Petrol, they're always there. TP Mazembe somehow always there. I think it's a rather even tie, even though TP Mazembe have won this competition before and Atletico Petrol have not. Young Africans is the other Tanzanian team in this competition. They go against Mamelodi Sundowns. Mamelodi Sundowns have also won this competition once in the past, so they'll be favorites to win that match as well. And even though Mamelodi Sundowns are away to Young Africans in that first weekend, and then Esperance Tunisia against ASEC Mimosa. ASEC Mimosa have won the competition before. Yes, they have won the competition before.
Yeah.
I think it was was it in the 90s or was it in 2009? I can't quite remember now, but they won it once before against Esperance as well. So two very good teams. I think we're in for a cracker of quarterfinal games in the African Champions League, and long may continue.
Yeah, so ASEC Mimosa won in 1998.
There you go. I knew it was in the 90s, yes.
Yeah. They won this tournament, and then the following year they went on to win the CAF Super Cup.
The CAF Super Cup, that's right. And that's exactly what Mamelodi Sundowns did in 2011, I guess, as well. They won the tournament and went on to win the Super Cup the following year as well.
Super Cup.
So you've got really fantastic teams in this quarterfinal draw.
Honestly, when I think about ASEC Mimosa, I think about the home of Yaya Toure, Solomon Kalu.
Yes, indeed.
They produce stars for us, really. And they really deserve to be there. I just look at currently the way the Tunisians come with a certain fire. It's like Ahly, Esperance de Tunis, they have this confidence when they enter the games in CAF Champions League. They almost seem unbeatable. And I know that Simba is going to do a lot against them in that second leg. But
absolutely.
Sorry, in that first leg.
Yes.
Yeah. But you never know. This is a very experienced squad. This is a very experienced side. You never know what will come out of that game, really. But I'm just excited to see that we have a bit of good football to watch from the continent in the coming weeks. The first game between Semen and Ahly is the 29th of March. And then they run through. TP Mazembe plays Petro de Luanda the next day on the 30th of March. Young Africans play Mamelodi Sundowns the same day on the 30th of March, the Saturday. And on that same day as well, Esperance de Tunis will play Aztec Mimosa. And then on the 5th of April, the second leg of matches begin.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I'm excited to see after the momentum of the AFCON. I can't wait to see what will come next in the Champions League. It's one of the bookmarks I made that I'm going to follow it.
Yes, indeed we are. And we're going to definitely do that here on the Africa Football Showdown. Listen, we're coming to the end now. Before we do end, though, we started the show talking about Otto Addo. And I want to give out a shout out to our little man, Otto, who is our producer, Pierce's son. So shout out to Otto. I hope you're following the Africa Football Showdown, which your dad produces. And of course, I hope you're into your African football and you're learning a lot from this. So good man. Shout out to you.
If being called Otto is what it means to be Ghana Black Stars coach, you can take the team now. You can come and take it now.
Nice one, man. Listen, it's been great talking to you this week. And let's do it again next week.
By all means, there's nowhere else I'd rather be, man. Have a good one.
You too, man. Take care. Cheers.
Thanks very much for watching this video. We hope you enjoyed watching it just as much as we enjoyed making it. Now, if you want to keep up with everything that the Africa Football Showdown will be bringing you, hit that subscribe button and keep up with us on all our social media channels. The link should be down there somewhere. Yeah, you got it.